All right, welcome back to the channel. Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders are in some type of conversation for a fight, but Billy Joe Saunders decides he is going to lay down the law to Canelo Alvarez. Man, put that candy down. Let's talk about what Billy Goat Saunders has to say about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, man, I was going through Twitter, and I might actually I've either saw it directly on Twitter or I saw it, in an article that somebody wrote about what was going on in Twitter yesterday. And Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. got into it. And let me assure you, dude, Chris Eubank got the better of that exchange. So Chris Eubank says about Billy Joe Saunders that the reason, I guess I got to give you this a little bit ahead of time to make sense of what Eubank said. Billy Joe Saunders is supposed to be in conversations to fight Canelo Alvarez. Billy Joe Saunders says, and the fight is supposed to be for September 19th, right? Because that's around the time, that those are the 2 months that Canelo fights in. Fights May and Cinco de Mayo weekend and in the second week of September. Those are the fights because they both, I do believe, fall on Mexican holidays. So that's when he fights. So of course, he's the big money man on, for the WBC. He's the WBC's big money man. He's all these guys' big money man, right? Because DAZN, for some crazy reason, is paying this dude $35 million a fight, no matter who he fights. Desperate times called for desperate measures with DAZN. So anyway, Billy Joe Saunders is being talked to about that fight. And he says, there's not enough time for me to be prepared for a September 19th fight or September 12th fight. There's not enough time. Right now, it is at least 10 weeks away, right? You got all of July, you got all of August, and then 2 weeks in September. That's 12 weeks. I don't know how much time do you need, Billy? But anyway, Chris Eubank said, and Billy Joe Saunders also said that he wants more money to fight Canelo. He's not fighting Canelo on the cheap. He wants at least $9 million to fight for Canelo. And if they can't give him that money, they need to take that $9 million out of Canelo Alvarez's cut, right? Which tells you right there that Billy Joe Saunders, that when Tyson Fury was going through all those problems with, with the alcohol and doing the cocaine and all that he was not in that room alone, okay? Billy Joe Saunders was in that room with him, engaging in, engaging in the high life, because what he's talking about is nonsense. But anyway, I'll get to the nonsense in that in a second. Chris Eubank, though, said, yeah, the reason it's going to take you more than 10 weeks to get that stuff up out of your system. He said, Chris Eubank said, yeah, of course, it's going to take you more than 10 weeks to get that stuff you're using up out of your system, right? Now, which is interesting because the BBBOC did not do any drug testing of anybody in the UK between the dates of, let me make sure I get March 23rd. I know March 23rd because that is an important date to me. March 23rd through, I think it was June 11th. Yeah, March 23rd through June 11th. There was no drug testing in the UK at all. So Billy Joe Saunders could take whatever he wants to take and train however he wants to train. Tyson Fury can take whatever Tyson Fury wants. Dillian White can take all of the D-ball that he wants and get it all ready to go and then get it out of your system before the fight starts. Or in the UK now, remember, in the UK, it doesn't actually have to leave your system. In the United States, it has to leave your system. In the UK, it doesn't have to leave your system. It can stay right there. You just have to go get a doctor's note and tell them either before or after that you are having a hard time you're feeling sleepy during the daytime. Like you just feel a little bit listless. Your sex drive is a little low. And they will say, oh, no problem. Here's some testosterone. Here's some synthetic testosterone to help you out with that problem. Do you need any note for this? Yes, I do. I need a note for the British Boxing Board of Control to let them know that you've allowed me to take this synthetic testosterone, which is called a therapeutic use exemption. Yes, we need that. Oh, no problem. Here you go. And by the way, here's my bill. Right? If the charge seems a little extra high, that's because, this pen that I'm writing with, the ink is extra special and it's $600 a pen, right? So I got to make sure I charge you a little bit extra for this trip. Is that okay with you, Billy Joe? Yes, no problem at all. No problem at all. And by the way, I have another friend over here. He just popped dirty for a fight that happened last month. Would you mind giving him a doctor's note and prescribing him stuff in retrospect? Oh, no problem. Same thing though. Extra money for the pen, dude. Over there in the UK, dude, they have therapeutic use exemptions and retroactive therapeutic use exemptions, and they didn't test. It's like, dude, of course, Billy Joe Saunders can be doped to the gills by the time he fights, for a fight with Canelo Alvarez. But if it's over in the United States, he does need to come down off of it a little bit. But I thought that was an interesting take from Chris Eubank about why Billy Joe Saunders needs more than 10 weeks to get out there and fight Canelo Alvarez, right? Because it doesn't take that long, dog. It doesn't take that long to get in shape. You should have been in shape, right? Should have been in shape. What else you got to do? You've been on quarantine. So anyway, that's what started the conversation. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, though, when he said that he wants Canelo Alvarez to take a pay cut, a $9 million pay cut for a fight with him, why would he do that? Why? First of all, why is Canelo Alvarez even talking about fighting Billy Joe Saunders anyway? Who cares? Who cares? The idea that Billy Joe Saunders is a better fight for Canelo Alvarez than Jermall Charlo or Demetrius Andrade is nuts. Nobody cares about Billy Joe Saunders in the UK, let alone people don't care about Billy Joe Saunders in his own house. Who cares whether or not he fights Canelo Alvarez or not? That dude, go fight Liam Smith and shut up. Okay? How about that? How about you fight Liam Smith and shut up? $9 million off of the top for Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo's gonna, yes, let me make 26 million, and so that Billy Joe Saunders can make 9. Nah, dog, not gonna happen. Stupid thing to ask for. Billy, if this dude makes $35 million, you need to take that $2 million. You need to take that 2 million pounds and be happy with it, dude, because don't nobody want to see that fight. Nobody's asking for the fight. And the only reason Canelo Alvarez is taking that fight is because there's not anybody putting pressure on him to fight the guys that really have a chance to beat him. And those, in my opinion, are guys down at 160 pounds, Demetrius Andrade and Jermall Charlo. If it's at 168, if Canelo's fighting somebody at 168, let it be David Benavidez or Caleb Plant. But Billy Joe Saunders looked like garbage the last time he's almost beat by some journeyman from Argentina, right? Looking like garbage and gonna look like garbage in front of Canelo Alvarez. But more than likely, dude, the fight's not gonna happen because Canelo Alvarez is not gonna let Billy Joe Saunders get in there with his, what is it? I've learned all of these names for performance enhancing drugs, but I always forget the one that Billy Joe Saunders was on. Now, I know the one that Tyson Fury was on was Nandrolone. And I know the one that Dillian White was on was Dianabol. And I know the one that Alexander Povetkin was on was Maldonium. What was the one? Nezeferol, something like that. But whatever it is, it's a nasal spray. It's a nasal spray that helps you lose weight and hold on to muscle. The next time, and Billy Joe Saunders came over to the United States, or actually, I think he went to Canada. When he went to Canada, looked great. Looked great against David Lemieux. Constantly moving, one-sided fight. Then he got busted on the lead into that Demetrius Andrade fight and got saved because he got saved. He's about to lose Demetrius Andrade. After that, he fights. He can't. All of a sudden, he can't make 160 anymore, and he fights the Argentine guy. I think is it Cota? Did he fight Cota? Anyway, winds up getting a knockout, but for the first however many rounds, he was losing and looked like garbage because he wasn't on his whatever that crap he was sniffing. Dude, Billy Joe Saunders not only, and then he's just a joke, just generally speaking, dude. Like, if you listen to what Billy Joe Saunders cannot have an intelligent conversation. It's hard for him to have an intelligent conversation with somebody, dude. He's a complete, man, I just have no respect for Billy Joe Saunders whatsoever, man. What kind of punk runs into a restaurant, grabs a chicken, throws a chicken at somebody, and you're a world-class boxer, and you run away from a guy like Marcellus Wallace with only, what do you have, 5 fights at the time? You're in your hometown and you run like a punk out of a restaurant? Dude, this guy's just, man, Billy Joe Saunders he's just a lowlife, man. He's just a lowlife. Billy Ho Saunders, the lowlife. But anyway, that's my take on the matter, dude. Billy Joe Saunders ain't getting none of that up out of Canelo. He need to fight Liam Smith. And he need to go fight Liam Smith in a domestic level fight over there in the UK and stop getting in the way of other fights happening. I don't like Billy Joe Saunders. Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.